Today in the crypto space, we see the market still struggling to hold horizontal levels of support. Bitcoin right around the $102,000 level, Ethereum right around 3,000, down approximately 2%, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, slowly bleeding to the downside. However, guys, we could be getting support very, very soon. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is definitely picking up a lot of hype, and that project is called Supra. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of this volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys. Let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. I still feel the fear, the sentiment in the market is so fearful, very uncertain, very doubtful. And of course, that FUD, as it permeates the market, we're seeing a lot of volatility, particularly with the lower caps and the really risk-on asset classes. You know, this is the thing here, guys. Right now, the convictions have to be very solid. The fundamentals have to be very solid, and overall the portfolio has to be very solid. So, you know, I'm looking for solid projects, but at the same time understanding that the risk appetite has to be there. Guys, no trade is without risk. We need to get into the understanding that we need to take risk in order to get reward. However, we try to mitigate risks at all costs, whether it be price action, clear invalidations, getting into strong fundamentals, because obviously with a project that has fundamentals, you know, on red days, they are likely to hold up based on all the fundamental bullishness that the project has. So today I'm going to be talking about Supra a bit, and we're going to talk about the overall market. We're going to look at the top 100 here, quickly scrape through it, Bitcoin, use it as a leading indicator. So let's begin. As you can see that, you know, generally speaking, the market is not really doing the greatest as far as volume. As you can see, the volume is dipping down, and the fractals here at the right are not really doing anything either. They're kind of like going sideways, dipping, maybe some, you know, dead cat bounces right here. It doesn't really look the greatest, to be honest. It's not like we're getting strong reversal structures to the upside, rounded bottoms. In fact, we could very clearly see that we are getting, you know, some small rounded tops, right? So this is the thing here, guys. We're slowly bleeding out a little bit here, dripping and dripping and dripping. Eventually, though, we will hold support. And the question is, are we close to that level? Are we at a level where we could expect that support? And as I scroll through the top 100 here, let me quickly refresh so we got the latest and greatest. You can see that, you know, there are some projects that are still down. Trump is still bleeding out. It's down approximately 30% for the week, which is quite a bit. Of course, given all the hype and given all the liquidity that it did attract, you know, a lot of people are getting wrecked there, unfortunately. So again, we got to focus on projects that have great fundamentals. And of course, Trump fundamentally is bullish, but from a token perspective, maybe not, right? Maybe not. BitTensor still looking strong. Fundamentals looking strong right there. And as we go down, we have some of the exchange tokens at least holding up, going sideways, still up for the week, 6.2% for Gate. I'm not a trader on Gate, but I like to keep an eye on exchange tokens just to see, you know, what the volume looks like. Essentially, why are people buying that token? It's because they're trading, they're getting involved, and that's a good sign. Jupiter still holding strong here despite the 10% dip for the day. You know, overall, we're still in an uptrend, maybe at the bottom of the trend, but we're still in an uptrend, so something to keep an eye on. And the same thing with KuCoin, up very strong today, going sideways or pretty much in an uptrend, 21% in the last 7 days. So that's pretty bullish. You got to admit, that's looking pretty good. And then, you know, a few others, maybe getting a few bounces here. Dog Whiff Hat Whiff is doing pretty good. Maybe looking for a change of character here at the bottom of the range. And it could be possible right now, guys, what I would be doing, obviously none of this is financial advice, but I would be looking for structure, market structure that suggests pivot. Okay, we got to be looking for something that suggests a pivot structure to the upside, a change of character, and that will ultimately give you some confirmations and that confidence, that confluence that you need in order to suggest that maybe the bears are done here. Okay, and this is the thing here. We have been in the bearish territory for the last little bit. Now it's time for a bullish response. We're waiting and we're trying to time it to see where we start to see the bullish response. All right, guys, let's jump right into the chart. So I know you're here to talk about price action. So let's begin by looking at Bitcoin as a leading indicator. All I want to do is see what is happening with Bitcoin and then try to translate what could happen to Bitcoin and how it can affect the altcoins, particularly Supra. All right, guys, so let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. As you see, you know, Bitcoin is still okay here on the daily. There's nothing bearish about this whatsoever. The daily time frame is still quite bullish. In fact, one may argue that we could be looking for a bull flag right into here. We could structure out here for a few more touches and then start looking for a break to the upside. Impulsive move, right? This is the elevator moving up, a nice push to the upside, massive push here, retracement, push here, maybe retracement, and then maybe another push to the upside, making higher highs. All possible here on the daily. Nothing is really confirming to me that we should be bearish. Now, on the momentum side of things, you can see we were in a downtrend. We held the chop zone very nice. We made a higher high on the momentum, and coming down here, maybe making a higher low and then going up for a higher high. Maybe we get overbought again. I like the fact that volatility is completely oversold now. And if you look at the past, every time we get down here, we start to really get pops to the upside in a strong way. So, and to see that the momentum is now in an uptrend, clearly in an uptrend, trading momentum and volatility in the same direction is not a bad idea, okay? Especially if we start getting overbought again, the same way we got here. So I'm hoping to see the daily time frame play out here in a very positive way for the space. Bitcoin showing strength is good, and it's hopeful that eventually we start to see the entire market show strength. I don't like the trend oscillators right now. They look pretty bad. We could get across very soon. We are in the bullish control zone, which is good because a bullish cross here where we see the EMAs and the green histogram bars cross bullish and maintain the expansion to the upside, similar to what happened here, let's say. It's not a bad thing. Look at this, what happened right into this level, guys. Okay, people get shaken out right here, and we could definitely get something like that and then continue to the upside. But at the current state, I know the indicators, all indicators are lagging indicators, so I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but ultimately at the current state, even on the short term, it's not looking the greatest. Let's jump right into the 4 hour and then we'll work our way backwards. The 4 hour time frame is still in a bearish trend here. You can see the trend is still bearish. You know, everything's facing down. We are in the bearish control zone, but we saw that what's happening on the daily. Ultimately, if we can get back above here and start moving to the upside and start expanding bullish here on the 4 hour, we could reverse the daily in a good way and continue to the upside. Okay, let's take a look at momentum on the 4 hour. You know, did bottom out here to oversold conditions. It does look pretty good. I would be focusing on this trend line right here to see the momentum shift to the upside and go overbought on the 4 hour. My only concern right now is that this is coming down. It's very likely that eventually something happens where we come down. Either it comes down quicker or maybe hesitates a little bit, as I suggest right here. But generally speaking, I would like to see some sort of bottom here so that we can be looking for divergence. Let's look at the price action to see if there's anything there here on Bitcoin on the 4 hour, just quickly so that we can get an understanding of what the market could be expecting. Now, if the price does roll over here, unfortunately, we're in a downtrend clearly, but this could be a bull flag, like I mentioned. Now, we could come down for a higher low and still make, a lower low or a double bottom right here on the momentum. If the momentum makes a higher low, that's actually really good. Obviously, even if the price action comes down for that lower low, that would be class A bullish divergence. What we really want to do is hold at least a double bottom. That would be okay for a class B. Class C would be great, but obviously I would love to see a double bottom to see a nice pivot point structure right into here. And that concludes the 4 hour. Right now, we are waiting to see the bearish response end here on the 4 hour and what kind of dip we're going to get right into here, giving us a bit of an idea of what the bulls have in store and what the bears are dealing with. Because ultimately, if the bears are showing weakness, we're not making lower lows. All right. If the bears are showing weakness, we're going to see signs of divergence in the momentum and the trend oscillators. We want to see signs of weakness of the bears, and we want to see signs of strength of the bulls. So market structure right now is key. Guys, focus on these lower lows and lower highs. What we want to see is evidence that we are making our first higher low and potentially breaking above and making a higher high. That's what we want to see, a nice breakout scenario, because then ultimately we start classifying this as a potential bull flag. Nice retracement, bull flag to the upside, continuation up. Now, what happens to Supra in this case? Number one, that we have to understand that Supra is an altcoin. Number two, Supra is fairly new. It's coming out fresh. Fresh marketing dollars are great, but ultimately the market right now is trying to find its true value. And you can see that it has been bleeding out. Guys, if you missed out on my deep dive on Supra, I highly suggest that you start your research by watching that video. Okay, it's a full-on analysis. It's an hour long. I get into all the details that you need to get fundamentally bullish, or maybe the opposite, some details that you may not like, and make some critical decisions about whether you're going to be deploying capital into Supra. Personally speaking, I like the project. You know, no project is perfect, but I like what it has going on for it fundamentally. However, the market cap is low, which means that you're going to get a lot of that volatility via market cap. Okay, so yes, the fundamentals are good and you're getting some support via fundamentals, but you're not going to get support via, market cap. Low cap projects are very volatile and they fluctuate significantly. However, that also means to the upside. So as soon as we finish this sell-off and the market gives us a true value of what Supra is, and we start creating that floor price, and the floor price could even be in a form of some sort of pivot point structure, inverse head and shoulders, cup and handles, Adam and Eve patterns. This is what we can look here to kind of look for that floor price. But a true floor price is one that goes sideways for a good given amount of time, and that usually gives us an indication that there's no more buyers, no more sellers, and we're at a healthy spot to slowly just focus on fundamentals. However, given the fact that we are in a bull run, and a lot of these projects are coming out hot right now, maybe the reversal is much quicker than just hitting a floor price. So I like what I see here. As far as a descending wedge, this is one of my favorite structures to play. Is one of my favorite structures to trade, and the setups are a lot clearer. And after trading for a good while, you start to get familiar with certain setups and how to play them, and what to see and what to be able to spot in the chart in order to get those confirmations. Right now we are in the absolute apex of this falling wedge, which is usually a moment of which we start to see a reversal. Now, what I don't like is the volume that's coming in right here at the tip. That means that people are basically panicking. Oh, they're selling off, and that's unfortunate. However, that gives you an indication that there's a lot of emotions there. And as you can see, we're kind of falling through the volume gap just a little bit. We're kind of holding with that volume. We're filling up the volume gap just a little bit. As you can see, this volume gap is slowly filling up with some volume and market participation, which gives us the indication that maybe it's not bad of a time to buy the sell-off, right? To buy the fear. And as we see the price coming down for those lower lows and lower highs, those may be those opportunities to start looking for the pivot point structure that suggests that the bears are showing weakness, that the bears do not have enough strength to continue making these lower lows, because this is to sustain such a trend for such a long period of time means that ultimately the bears have to be in full control the whole time with the same amount of power, and the momentum will give you that indication. Now I'm gonna just stay here on the daily for a second, because I know that there's not a lot of data here on the daily. But we could just look at the expansions right now. The expansion right here, as you can see, the red expansion to the downside, it's still full force, still very strong. So there's no real indication of divergence with regards to the weakness of its expansion. But the momentum, guys, is double bottoming right now as the price keeps on falling, making lower lows. That's a Class B bullish divergence. The issue with getting bullish right here is that this sideways momentum can get totally invalidated. In fact, it could come down for oversold conditions, and oversold is the best time to go long. So the risk that you're taking going long right now into potentially thinking that it's going to reverse is that it doesn't, and it comes down to oversold conditions below the 30%. Okay, so that's the risk you take, and this is a concern obviously for a lot of us. We want to buy in at the most optimal scenario. Now the trend oscillator here on the daily hasn't got an EMA cross, but we are also seeing divergence, right? The histogram bars are slowly tapering off. We see that maybe we can get an EMA cross. It's not confirmed. Nothing's here yet. I would love to see at least one green histogram bar right here. And that's pretty much it, right? We're not getting too many confirmations. We are very early. So this is why I made this video today, because we have to stay one step ahead, guys. If we start seeing something interesting here, it's time to deploy capital. Let's see what's going on here with the 4 hour. I just want to quickly show you that there's a bit of emotions based on previous price action looking left right around here, so it might be a level of which to keep an eye on. And this is why I kind of identified it here with this horizontal, because the volume gap, this kind of like, you know, ends right around this level where we pick up a bit of volume, pick up a bit of emotion around this level, so it could be defended. So I'm worried about it falling through the volume gap, and really that would be hitting, the price would be hitting approximately 1.5 cents, which would be a great opportunity. And for me, I bought into here. I bought my first bags right into this level, which was, you know, a fine decision. And I am interested in reaccumulating or accumulating more right into this level and getting an average price, maybe out of 2 cents, and I'm fine with that. Ultimately, what would get me super interested to deploy capital more frequently and more heavily is to see the change of character. So before I talk about market structure, let's just quickly look at the oscillators here for a second. Market structure is super important, but I want to focus a little bit here on the divergences that exist, and they're more pronounced here on the 4 hour. As you can see, we are diverging right now. We're making lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum, which is okay. We got some confirmations that the volatility looked like it's made an Uno reverse and it's moving to the upside, while also the trend oscillator, and this is the line that I put on the daily. Let's reuse it here for a second. You can see that the expansions are getting smaller and smaller. And yes, we are in the bearish control zone, but at any moment we could start seeing this thing, the EMAs, get into the bullish control zone. We do have an EMA cross being prepared at this current moment, and followed by one little green histogram bar. So it's a good indication that maybe on the 4 hour we start breaking out. And it could be that's your indication that maybe the market structure is starting to shift to the upside. Again, the volume, guys, look at the volume. The volume's coming in hot here around this area. It's a very emotional area. All right, so let's talk about market structure. So we are okay. We see some divergences on the daily, on the 4 hour. You know, it's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And then we start to say, okay, well, what would make things a little bit better? Obviously, more oscillators in correlation with the divergence, a little bit more, especially on the daily. The 4 hour looks a lot better. And then what else we need is to break above this high right here. And we need to hold this bottom, and in fact what would be super nice is to break above, come down for a higher low, and make this higher high, obviously, and a higher low, and then start moving upwards. As soon as that happens, we start to say, okay, maybe this starts to look like a nice pivot point structure, and we're looking for a break, we're looking for a trend reversal. And this is usually how inverse head and shoulders form. Even if they are diagonal, the head and shoulder, the neckline is diagonal, it doesn't matter, right? It's still a valid head and shoulders formation. So that's very interesting. Now, that would depend on breaking out of this real quick, right? And you never know, we could bounce right off and literally break out of this and then do the back test. This is all very possible. But what also happens in some cases is that we do not break above the previous highs, and we make a lower high, but then the next one is a higher low, and then we start breaking the previous high. As long as at one given point we start changing the structure, we've been making lower lows and lower highs all up into here. All of a sudden, okay, we made another lower high, but guess what? Right here, we made a higher low. And then guess what? Here, we confirmed another higher high when we broke this high. And now we can say with confidence that we're making a higher low and a higher high, a higher low and higher highs. That's a trend reversal. So there's a couple things that you could look for: a break of the previous high, or a higher low in this case, that will just kind of confirm to you that it's possible that we're pivoting and changing the direction of the trend. Okay, guys, that's what we're looking for. Obviously, the reason why I look for divergence first is because getting divergence right into here means that eventually we might go sideways a little bit and get the follow through for the divergence and start to see things get overbought. And that's where the magic really does happen. Okay, guys. And then in the meantime, we start deploying capital all into this area, building positions for that reversal. All right, guys. So that's the artwork for today. Obviously, you can see that We are very early. You got to be very prepared for liquidity hunts around these levels. Be prepared for what the market has to offer. But you can see that the retracement, the dip, is pretty large right now, and it would be an ideal time to see Supra hold a bit of support and understand that the fundamentals are valid enough to get that support right around this area. Okay, so fundamentals are king, obviously, and price structure is king. And obviously, I'm going to be live again tonight at 8 p.m. EST talking about crypto news and price action. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.